Lori Mabardi, you are Global Research Director, ESG and Sustainability at JLL. Thank you for joining us on BiTV.
Thanks for having me, Nikitian. It's a pleasure.
The pleasure is ours. Uh, JLL's recent report, Return on Sustainability, How the Value of Green Conversation is Growing Up, states that a reset is underway with carbon footprint, climate change, and health and well-being radically disrupting what constitute a best-in-class building. What defines such an asset, do you think, in 2022?
So thank you so much for reading the report and calling to chat about it. So this report was really important to us because, like you said, there is a reset going on in the real estate world. We all know we just came out of, or we are coming out of a global pandemic, and our world is different, and we are demanding more of our real estate. We also understand that extreme climate is here, climate change is here, and it's clear that the built environment has an important role to play to make the world greener and healthier. And so the way that the investor community is now looking at buildings is really through that lens of ESG, asking, can these buildings be green? Can these buildings be healthy? And so that's why in this report, we really talk about how green now is going to mean something different. It's going to mean looking at the carbon footprint of a building, and the world is becoming increasingly carbon conscious. So that's one way that the step change is happening and value is going to be reset. The second way is health and wellness. We want our buildings to be healthy. We want them to create environments that deliver optimal human performance as well as optimal building performance.
Mm.
So health and wellness is another characteristic that's going to really define what a best-in-class building is. And lastly, we looked at climate change and resilience and making sure that these buildings can be hardened enough and weather whatever storms come their way.
Mm, okay, thank you. You mentioned in your the title of the report, the value of green. Value
Yeah.
of green has been a long-standing question among investors. How do you value the premium of an environmentally sound building?
Yeah.
The report you suggest an evolution from a green premium to a brown discount. What does this shift mean, and how does it affect property investors?
So you're right. So in the research, in the piece, we talk about a meta-analysis which looked at historically about 40 studies that had been done around what the green premium is.
Mm.
And so across those 40 studies, the debate can be settled. You have about a 6 to 7% green premium when you look at how we've defined green for the past 2 decades.
Mhm.
What we're facing right now as an economy that has to engage in this massive energy transition, countries, corporates, investors, we are all setting our eyes on, or many of us are setting our eyes on net zero carbon by a certain date.
Yes.
And so the clock is ticking. And so as as we look and utilize things like the CREM pathway that put an asset on a net zero carbon trajectory, if you wait too long and you just don't put in the capital expenditures and you get too close and you want to sell your asset, potential buyers might say, you know what? I can't turn this into a net zero asset by I'm not paying this much. And there you go. Here's your brown discount.
Mm.
The other risk around that is just insurability. Um, whether you're going to have tenants that want to take your space. So there's risk to liquidity, there's risk to obsolescence.
Mm.
And of course, the term that we all use is the risk of asset stranding.
Yeah.
So it's kind of taking that green premium thought process and flipping it on its head at this point.
So the clock is ticking. What key steps should investors take as they look to future-proof their portfolios against environmental and social challenges?
So really start leaning in. There is a lot to learn. There's an educational curve, a learning curve.
Mm,
Um, there are resources out there, and take baby steps. Don't get overwhelmed by the entirety of the work.
mm,
There's a lot of low-hanging fruit to be had. I'm talking in primarily to that decarbonization process. We're undergoing a study now about deconstructing the cost.
mm.
It doesn't have to be a big sticker cost. It doesn't have to be a big thing. And so don't be intimidated by the buzzwords. And just start. So I think that's the most important piece. JLL did publish a really nice report with the World Economic Forum at the end of last year that talks about the 10 steps to decarbonizing a building. And so maybe we can include that link for your viewers.
That would be great. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you all for joining us. And see you soon on BiTV.
Thank you.